Viewers, I have finally got a chance to do a review of the E93 BMW 3 Series. I have been wanting to drive this one for a while for my channel, if I'll be completely honest with you. The reason is, this car is a proper split personality car. If you would like me to review your car, my email address is carsplusclassics1@gmail.com. Anyway, back to the review. So everyone's probably been familiar with the E90 Generation 3 Series by now. This came out in 2005. This particular model actually came out in 2006 and was in production until 2012. Now, this was actually a bit of an interesting model because the BMWs, when they were about to release this car, were going to call it the 4 Series, and they were so close to calling it the 4 Series and just stopped sort of doing it before they released the car. So inevitably the Mark 1 4 Series was actually based on the F30 Generation 3 Series. We kind of missed out this one. But it also would go a long way to explain why this felt different and looked different to the E90. But this particular car here did introduce new things, apart from a potential new naming scheme. It had different looks as well, and also was the first BMW 3 Series convertible to have a metal folding hardtop roof, which I think is fantastic. I really like the metal folding roofs on this and on the Mark 1 4 Series. I don't, however, appreciate some of the mechanical reliabilities of both the roof and this particular car. Now, there was a range of engines. I could go on and on about the range of engines in the BMW E90 range, but this particular one here is the forgotten and not so liked 320i M Sport, and this particular one came with a 2-litre 170 brake horsepower N43 engine. Now, these engines are notoriously unreliable. It's a shame, really, because they are good performance engines. Their fuel economy is good and the delivery power is magnificent when it works. But it's got a lot of issues, and coil packs are notorious in these cars, and unfortunately this car's got a coil pack issue. In fact, later on in my drive you're going to hear the beeps and bongs that the car's making because this doesn't run properly and it has a few issues here and there, and it's such a shame. But I feel like the E90 generation was quite distinctive, and also it was kind of an awkward position for the BMW 3 Series as a range, because you had the excellent E46 and one of the best of the BMW ranges. I think the best overall BMW model is probably the E46, although the G20 is also an excellent car as well. It's a bit of a tough one, but I digress. The E90 was a bit of an awkward one because they're very likeable in some ways and they're very terrible in other ways. Some of the engines weren't good. This was a very split personality engine, to be honest, and some of the engines were very good. Now, what do I mean by the fact that this car split personality? Well, there's faults with this particular car that really ruin this car, but there's a lot of things that make it such a charming, wonderful car. But I feel like the whole model range has a bit of that kind of split personality-ness to it. There's models which are really good, and there's models which aren't. The 335i, for example, which is a magnificent car in many ways, is notorious for reliability issues. Yet you've got something like the M3, which has got a V8, and it's just an amazing car, one of the best M3s ever made. So like I said, very split personality kind of range and car. One thing I will say about the E90 range, though, one major issue with the gearbox in this car is a manual. Why have BMW engineered first and reverse to be almost identical to each other? So sometimes when you're at lights, for example, you might have missed the light go green, or you're just rushing or you're panicking, you slip it into first as quickly as possible, and you end up slipping it into reverse and looking like a right wally in the process.
Nothing here to see, just a kill out me, trying to cut some teeth, trying to figure it out. Nothing better to do when I'm stuck on you. I'm here trying to figure it out.
Now, I appreciate this car's been adorned with various different things, dents and scratches, but it still doesn't mar what is a fantastic design, viewers. I love this kind of sculpted, almost clamshell bonnet, large, vast, and yet it doesn't droop down like you got on the F30 generation, which kind of ruined the styling a little bit when you look at it from the side. This is proportionally perfect, though, viewers. I'm really impressed. Like I said, you've got that clamshell bonnet, beautiful scooped grille. I only grabbed the headlights. Why does it kind of come inwards a little bit on the inside? I get that they're trying to make it look a bit curved, but they didn't need to do that. I mean, look at the E36, for example. It didn't have that kind of unnecessary curvature. It kind of goes against the rest of the flows of the lines of the car. But it doesn't ruin it. It still looks fantastic. And you've got this M Sport body kit, which just looks brilliant as well. I mean, as a hardtop convertible goes, this is the one. This is the best looking one of the range by miles. And these alloys look brilliant too. These sharp, bladed, spiked alloys. Large, low profile, makes it terrible to drive around London. And the styling, like scallops, flame surfaced. It's a really good design. I think there's some Chris Bangle influence here, but I'm not sure if he designed this car. I don't think he did. In fact, I'm almost certain he didn't design this car, but I'm certain some of his design ethos has trickled down to this car. My favourite things, in fact, about this car view is the proportions. You just look at the proportions of this car. It's so well proportioned, so well balanced. It's not overly designed, overly bulky. Because it's got the metal folding roof, you haven't got an unusual roof shape. I'll go one further and say I prefer the silhouette of this car and the proportions of this car over the E92. I feel like they had a bit of a flowing roofline at the boot. Looks good, but this looks better. That excellent styling with that perfect proportions just continues. It really, really does. I love this boot lid. You kind of got this kind of old school style long tail. Being old school, it's nice and long and flat as well. Not this kind of upswept look that you have on modern cars. I think the Mercedes CLE is one of those where it's kind of almost got no arse. And it's a shame, really, because this looks much better. Design-wise, it's much better. And you have to understand, when this car was being released, there was good-looking convertibles on Volvo C70, Saab 9.3, Volkswagen EOS, and obviously the Audi A4s and the Mercedes CLKs and the E-Classes. So they had a lot to compete with, but for me, this was the best looking out of them all. It really was, especially in the M Sport model. And design is really one of its key strengths. What I like about this generation, especially on the pre-facelift, was that the taillight clusters were very distinctive in that not only were the upside down L's, but the clusters itself, albeit were clear, there was no gingicators at the stage, you could tell where the clusters were. So you had your indicator there, and then you had your reverse light there. On the faces, they did change it a little bit, so it all kind of blended in a bit. There's one big red unit. But I prefer this, kind of splits the light off nicer, makes it look a bit more fluid. Design-wise, it held up really well. It's a good-looking design. My only kind of gripe with this car is the quality of certain things. Case in point, these inner tail lights. These inner tail lights have a propensity to go cloudy, and I'm not entirely sure why. The rest of the units don't do that. It's just the inner tail lights. The overall design at the back is brilliant. This to me is one of my favourite BMW designs. It just is an absolutely beautiful car, and it's aged so thoroughly well. This is what BMW completely excel at. So I wanted to give you a segment view to show you what it was like around London, and you could probably see from the jiggling of my camera as well as all the bumps and humps and the noise it was creating, it's not capable of dealing with London. It's just not. On the open road, however, it does come to light, it does wake up, and it becomes a much better car. So it really is a split personality type of car. You know, the winning formula for BMWs is 6 cylinders at the front, manual gearbox, rear wheel drive, and that works. But this particular car, it almost has that, but it doesn't have 6 cylinders, it's got 4 cylinders. BMWs aren't exactly known and appreciated for their 4 cylinders, it's their 6 cylinders. That's their speciality dish. But for a 4 cylinder, this is absolutely lovely. I must admit, this is one of the best 4 cylinder engines in terms of its delivery of power. I appreciate the reliability is absolutely atrocious on these, and this particular one's probably got a coil pack issue as well because it's misfiring every so often, so I don't recommend it on reliability whatsoever. The fuel economy is actually not bad considering its weight, but it's more the fact that you get 170 brake horsepower and it delivers it like a turbine. It's fantastic. It just revs really right through the rev range. The gearbox in this is a lot better. It's very mechanical. It's a very slick, sneaky kind of gear change, and it works beautifully, in fact. And like I said, once you take it out of the terrible roads of London, you've got yourself a really good driver's car. Despite being a lot heavier than the E92 counterpart and obviously the E90 Saloon, this still feels fantastic to drive on an open road. And like I said, combined with that 4-cylinder engine, it is a nice vehicle to drive. It's very, very, well, it's actually quite fast, to be fair. Once you get it into its comfort zone, it's fantastic. Take it out of its comfort zone, however, and this car really struggles. Sorry, BMW, but this is bad.
I let it go, cause I won't see you later when we're not allowed to talk it out. I said I'd go, put myself on show, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I broke my shoe, took a bet on you, but you didn't know I planned it out. I said I'd go, yeah, I won't see you later when we're not allowed to figure it out.
It's a very charming car. There's so many positive points about this car. I could sit here and wax lyrical about this. And it does feel like one of the last proper, to an extent, BMWs in the sense of quality and the fact you had a range of 6-cylinder engines, as well as there being bigger engines than just 6 cylinders. So there was a lot to like about this car, and the styling is phenomenal too. It's one of the best designed modern style BMWs in my personal opinion. I just love its proportions. It's brilliant. There's so much to like about this car. And unfortunately, there's so much to hate about this car too, because it's just far too firm. It's heavy. It's unreliable. the gear change is a little bit annoying between first and reverse. It ruins what is otherwise a fantastic car. And it's such a shame, viewers. They were so close to nailing it. This could have been a better car than the E46. It could have done. But I don't think it is. I still think the E46 is better. And I've driven a G20 and I think that's better too. I just feel like this is going to be a bit forgotten this generation. But it doesn't deserve to be entirely forgotten, because in many ways I think this is better than the generation that took over from it, the F30 generation. So it really depends on horses for courses, really. But it's up to you. I don't know what you guys think, but for me, it doesn't really hit the mark for me. It's a lovely car to drive, but has far too many foibles. If it wasn't a problematic car, and if it was reliable, I'll be looking at possibly a 9.5. But it's got far too many problems. For me, this is a 6 out of 10. I'm sorry, viewers, but it's just, it needs to do better. It's a mixed bag, but yeah, 6 out of 10, viewers. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my content. I hope you like my channel. Please don't forget to like this video. It really helps me out. And if you can subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate that. And heck, if you share my video as well, massively appreciate that too. Thank you very much for your time, everyone. Take care now. Bye-bye. So today, reviewers, stop again. Now the BMW E93, shut up!